All right, what's up, my brothers from another mother? We got a requested video here from a viewer, sponsored video, if you will. Let's hop straight into this. His issue is he's recently divorced from an LTR, is asking for some advice so he doesn't repeat certain mistakes that he's made in the past. So let's hop right into it. Hey, Rich, great show, great beer. My name is Ben from Sweden. There's going to be a little bit of a translation issue here, but we'll get through it. 38 years old today. I was living with a woman for 12 years. Former wife is 37 today. So was with the former wife for 12 years. She's 37. We got our first child about 5 years ago in the relationship. Wanted to make sure it was stable since a long wait. Then 3 years later, they had the second child. Things were already bad before we got the second child. Yeah, quite often, guys, that's kind of like something that we should maybe spend a moment on is don't think adding more children to the equation is going to make things better. Don't think adding children to the equation of a bad relationship will make things better. All it does is it adds more stress, complexity, and if you need to exit, a hell of a lot more problems. So just keep that in mind. Already bad. So minimal sexual interaction, just bad toxic environment. Had to beg for anything. That's where you get in. That's a very bad situation because you get yourself into a beta mindset. You're basically in her frame. You're at her beck and call, and that's never good. It never serves men well. So just be aware of that going forward. If I can point that out. We got married on paper around year 9 to 10. Okay, so you were together, and then you got married mainly for tax benefits. Oh, man. I had a full prenup made, so each person only have their own things. If there's a divorce, I have my own software business, so that was a good thing, and she has a high pension at her work. So both had something, and we're not interested in going after the other. Now, in the last year, it all went bad and even went to a marriage counselor, which is a waste of time. Yeah, I've said that before, guys. Don't waste your time on marriage counseling. It often fails. More often not, and on a balance of probabilities, it's not going to do anything. If she's checked out, it's done. You need to move on, which is a waste of time and money since we already had made up our mind. Yeah, just like I pointed out. Then there was 6 months silent battle, still living together, but not talking to each other, mainly about the kids and the whole situation. I smartly stayed in the home, never moved, so I did not lose any rights at all. Good for you, brother. You're listening to my videos. Awesome. She started drinking a glass of wine every day, and I just played it cool, didn't do anything unusual. It's not that big of a deal. A bottle, yeah, a glass, not so much. It ended with me making a list of 19 points. We both agree on about the kids in the situation. Nobody pay anything to the other. She bought me out in the living space. We got a 7-7. I'm not sure what that is. It's probably something familiar in Sweden, but we got a 7-7, and we had papers made by a local family lawyer. So it means I get both girls 1 week and she has them 1 week. So it's basically 50-50. And we decided everything about the kids 50-50. School before the marriage, I was 88 kilograms and buffed with muscle alpha frame. When the relation ended, I was 130 kilograms and fat beta male. Well, judging by what you're saying over here about there was minimal sexual interaction and toxic behavior, and you also mentioned something about you placating to her whims all the time. This is what happens. This is the process of betatization by 1,000 concessions. You bend the knee to every single thing that she demands of you, and at some point you're going to pull the pin on the fat grenade yourself, and you're going to blimp up like you did there. So it's incredibly important that you're aware of that when you get into an LTR, that you always maintain frame, that you're always on your game, you always continue to chase excellence. Now, it was more than 8 months ago. I ended it, and he's back to 95 kilos, and he's buffed and muscled up again. Good for you. So basically, it all ended as good as it could be for a long battle. It really helped me watch your videos to get a clue what was going on. Thanks. Now, the challenge. I met a new chick, and we've seen each other for the last 3 months. She's from a former Soviet Union country. She was here on work vacation, could only stay 3 months. She just had a low-paid job. You paid for everything, food trips. She really has nothing. She is more hot than the ex-wife, which was a 5, and she's maybe a 7. Okay, so your Russian's a 7 and your ex-wife was a 5. So with this new chick, everything already in 3 months has been much better than 12 years. Well, dude, you're in the honeymoon phase. Like, let's be honest, okay? You get married for 12 years, you go through the betatization through a 1,000 concessions like you did, put on a ton of weight, got fat. Anything's going to look better than that. You starve a guy for a week in the desert and you give him a saltine cracker, like Eddie Murphy said in his stand-up, that's going to be the best saltine cracker I've ever had, right? You're going to it's like if you deprive yourself of kind, sweet women that are in your frame that support you, one shows up and she starts looking like a unicorn. So be careful, because this is what usually turns into one-itis for guys, right? All right, so she's a 7. So with this new one, everything already in 3 months, much better. Of course, you come from misery, everything's better. Yeah, okay, I just pointed out. I am very clear about what I want this time. Very good sex. You can't negotiate desire, so stop doing that. I've talked about that in my videos before. Don't need to repeat it. When you try to negotiate desire, it leads to obligated compliance, which ends up with resentment, essentially. So it just doesn't end good. So don't demand it. I mean, it's got to be natural. Good, healthy food. So I'm assuming she's a good cook, or you're looking for that. Clean the house. I help. I'm not a slave master. Well, if you're earning the bread and bringing home the bacon, she should be cooking it up, right? No drama. We made a rule that if anything angry about 15 minutes, we must kiss and get. That's negotiating desire right there. Do not negotiate desire. I'm going to tell you to probably go to Google and search for the essays that Rollo wrote on negotiating desire. Just type rational male and then negotiated desire, and you'll probably find 1 or 2 on that. So look that up. Good communication. She is good with the girls. She has some work in the day. She must keep fit. Maximum 70 kilo weight or it's finished. She's 65. So you're telling her not to get fat. So this is actually pretty similar to the list that I did on Twitter that triggered a bunch of toxic feminists. But you're saying be good in bed, cook healthy food, keep a tidy home, don't be a drama queen, communicate clearly, don't be an evil woman to my kids. And she has to do something with her days, obviously, contribute, and she must not get fat. I think that's a pretty reasonable list. That would trigger a lot of angry, toxic feminists, though, because feminism teaches women never to do anything for the explicit pleasure or benefit of a man. And that entire list there does that. So let's keep going, see what it says. I really get from this chick what I want. She does everything. I ask no questions. It's clear that she's not poisoned by feminism at all. Good sex, food, etc. I never had to battle for things like the old relationship. She has been doing several shit test drama times. Okay, so she's already throwing shit tests and drama at you. And then I just walked away and she always come back and did everything. I'm not single time fell. You didn't fall for her shit test is what you're saying. I can recognize right away what happens before this when being blue-pilled. I had no clue. You still are not fully awake, my brother. So be very careful. Let's carry on. I'll give you some closing thoughts on that. I even told her that if anything, not the way that you like, you're going to walk because you have other options. I think it's important that women understand, and I don't know that stating it is a way to go about it. I think something like that is best declared more covertly than overtly. It should be declared through your actions, through your choices, through your behavior that she's replaceable. You don't want to say, look, you're replaceable. But a man on his purpose, on his mission is okay with letting somebody go. So let's put it that way, right? I hope that makes sense. Not running this chick, have mainly red pill from the start. It's clear that she really likes this. The only issue that's annoying me that I have to pay for everything, but she only has low paying job. Well, dude, she's showing up from a former communist country. She's bringing beauty to the equation. You're bringing success to the equation. Men are success objects. Women are beauty objects. That's where those two things collide. There's some complementary value in that. So what do you want from this chick, right? I got her to pay food several times for home cooking. She brought me some clothes and toys for the girls just to test my side if she can buy something. She thinks I am tight with money because when we go shopping, this is a shaming tactic. This is a typical Eastern European shaming tactic. They start calling you tight or cheap. Because when you go shopping, I shop more smart, buying high quality at lower price. Okay, she can help with many things. The two girls like her. She cleans this place without you having to ask her. Much more sex than I can handle. Right now, she's a perfect woman. No, she's not perfect because you're having some problems. And you're not even living with her. It doesn't sound like full-time. I'm not quite clear if she's where you're at full-time or if this is like a test. So, all is good. We come back to Sweden in 3 months from now, about November. How can I go wrong and what must I be careful about? Okay, good question. If we play the devil's advocate, chick from former Soviet state, 32-year-old, wants a kid, maybe desperate, wants to find a rich, stupid guy that has income, move to Western Europe, get a kid that she's set. Of course, she does anything for him in the first place since she's the underdog. I could also, hypergamy kicks in, let's say the future she moves permanent to Sweden, corrupted by feminism. That's a very big risk, and like the old relationship all over again when everything is a struggle. So my calculations, worst case, is what happens will be in 10 years. It could be a couple of years of happiness no matter what. But, of course, I can walk around black pill and never find someone because some things were bad. She wants a kid. She is 32, soon to be 33. Maybe I want another kid because I always wanted a boy but got 2 girls. All right, I'm going to start dealing with these one at a time. If you want to have a boy because you got 2 girls and you think she's good wife stock, chances are, my friend, is if you go the conventional route, the natural way, you're probably going to end up with a 3rd kid, girl. Not that it's bad. My daughter's great, love it. But if you're aiming to reproduce and have a son, you're probably going to have to go to a fertility clinic and make sure they pick out the boy sperms and do it that way. Because some guys just have dominant female sperms when they're having sex, and that's what they get. I know a guy that had 6 girls back to back before he got his vasectomy, and he tried 6 times, and that's what he got. So you might want to check into that before you go and commit and just start hoping that it's going to happen, because you might just get girl number 3. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's not going to obviously fulfill that requirement for you. But again, I don't want to rush things before we get to know each other. Yeah, right over here, let me just stop you right there. You need to properly vet a woman for at least a couple of years before you make any decisions to do anything with them. You should know by now that I'm running a show most Monday nights called Before the Train Wreck. This is Sean Smith's book, The Tactical Guide to Women. And he says specifically, you should read this if you haven't read it. There's a link in the description below. So check that out for my recommended reading list. But you should check it, because one of the things that he talks about is spend at least 2 years together so you can accurately vet her behavior. You need to collect some data points. 3 months is not enough. Introducing her to your kids within 3 months is bonkers in my estimation. I don't think you should ever do that until you know that she's a solid choice to bring around your kids or even have her around your house. You're already there. You've kind of put your foot down on the accelerator and gotten top gear within 3 months. I don't agree with that, but that's where you are right now. You need to slow things down, and that's going to disappoint her because she's expecting things to move quicker and probably have you put a baby in her. So that'll be a struggle you'll have to deal with. You already told her you want to live together for at least a year. A year's not long enough. You need to live together probably for well over that. And at the same time, you need to put yourself in an environment where there's stress. One of the best ways to stress the relationship, travel together. You spend 7 to 10 days straight, and I guarantee you will see who she really is, because it's very easy to be on your best behavior, on a dating basis. But when you're together full time for 7 to 10 days straight, doing traveling, on a vacation, doing stuff, you're going to see what they're really about. So you'll see the true colors there. So that's one of the things that I'd recommend that you do. There are many rules for immigration. She can only stay for 3 months, must find a job. She has girlfriends that did a little similar. They moved to Sweden and are working now. Most of them are single, did not move here to get married, maybe never found a good guy. So I'm thinking even before we can live together, time together must be, yeah, now you're starting to think, good. Next time she'll come 3 months. So she's not living permanently there. Okay. And she needs to leave again in 3 months and then come again in 3 months. In 1 month, I am going to visit her country and stay for a week to see it. What can the risks be with this woman? What if she comes here just to get married, to get a child, and screw me? Well, that's a very real possibility. It is what it is. A lot of women will do that. I'm not going to say she's going to do it or not going to do it, but like watching her behavior and setting boundaries will allow you to get clarity on whether or not she's a good choice to do anything further with her. Should I even care that if I get the 8 points I want? Should I even care? Oh yeah, dude, right up here. So your 8 points. Yeah, this is basic stuff. This is not asking a lot of women. This list is far lighter than the list of demands that women air of men. All you're asking her to do is be great in bed, know how to apply heat to food and make it taste good, keep a tidy home, not be a drama queen, be able to communicate, not be evil to your children, do something with your days, like have your own purpose, have your own mission, and not get fat. You're not asking for big things. So no, I would not say that you're not asking for too much there. I think that's completely fair and reasonable. 8 points. So can I just make a prenup and be safe? I'll deal with that in a second. With this chick, she has nothing there. Former wife, high paying job. Okay. Or when I have to pay the kid in the future, what's the worst case that can happen? Try to get something. Yeah. What do I do now? Run like hell, never talk to her, and go black pill, stay together 3 months, next time, see how things are going, all is fine after a year, get married, have the lawyer, something else. Okay, let's kind of summarize your request here. Before I do, just want to shout out to the channel sponsor. Thank you to the Grondike Soap Company Tactical Soap. I'll put a link or a card on the top right. If you check out with coupon code Cooper, you will get 10% off. It's pheromone infused handmade soap in the United States. Guys, it helps me create content on this channel. So you're showering anyways. Why not use something that supports the creation of the content? Again, card up on the top right. Check that out. So to the points that you're asking about in this video, I think you're asking the right questions, dude. Like you're seriously trying to consider what the best ways to go about it. You've already got kids. You've already been through the divorce machine. It sounds like you came out pretty clean. Yes, you should have her sign a prenup if you decide to do anything with her. But before you decide to do anything with her, you need to accurately vet her for at least a couple of years. That means watching her past, her behavior, understanding her past behavior, because both of those things will be a predictor of how she's going to behave going forward. Also, you need to see how she deals with you putting boundaries up. I don't know, let's say the boundary is not getting fat, for example, and she starts packing on weight and you're like, look, I'm not attracted to overweight women. You need to work out, sort of thing. And she protests or she shames you or something like that, then you basically know what you're up for, right? So make sure that you set boundaries and then you enforce them. And if she continues to break them, then you basically know what you're up against and what you're going to get. So you're asking the right questions. I've dealt with much of that stuff kind of going through. If you do decide to wife her up, definitely get a prenup. I don't know about the whole, do you want to have kids with her sort of thing? That's entirely up to you. If you want a third kid and you want a boy, I'd recommend probably talking to a fertility clinic or at least checking out, what your count looks like. Because if you're dominant on the, I can't remember what X or Y chromosomes, but I mean, if you're dominant with sperm that are going to be female dominated, because it's the male that decides whether or not it's a boy or a girl, not the female, then you might want to look in the clinic on that so you can get some clarity there. So you definitely get, a third as a boy. Aside from that, yeah, feminism is another potential problem for you because it's a very toxic environment in Sweden. I understand that, it's pretty rampant there. Women don't need a man. Toxic feminism tells women to be like men. So it masculinizes women and feminizes men. It's a big problem. It's not going away anytime soon, and it's probably going to continue to get worse in future. I mean, we see the way that the political landscape shapes it, the way that the media shapes it, the way that we encourage more, of these hardcore toxic type of values, which don't really serve the family unit well. Because you're talking about family unit, you're talking about building a family unit, having her support your purpose and your mission, potentially building a family with her and doing all those things. And you're doing it in an environment that's not friendly to that. You're probably better off, honestly. I don't know if you can do it. You probably can't because you've got an ex-wife, but taking your kids and going to her country and living there because it's probably more masculine friendly. Because what the narrative is going to be where you're at is at some point she's going to learn that men ain't shit and she doesn't need men, and she can get whatever she wants, and the state will take care of her. It's just such a bad vibe all around. It just teaches women to be more masculine, and it teaches them to constantly be a victim, which is not good for a relationship. They'll manufacture indignation. They'll make mountains out of molehills. So those are the sort of things that you want to look out for. All right. I want to thank you for sponsoring this video and asking these questions. I think you're asking the right thing. I hope it helps. If you want to sponsor a video, guys, card is up on the top right for the request page. Also, I'll put a card following that up for my men's community. I've shut it down on a monthly basis. It's only open on an annual basis now. So if you're interested in joining a group of like-minded men that are chasing excellence around the world, we've got a lot of guys around the world now, check that out. All right, see you guys in the next video. Peace.